is good people? You are now listening to another episode of At the Plate with Danny Foxworth. I am your humble narrator, Danny Foxworth, and as you can see, I'm not alone here. He was on my playoff preview episode for last year, so I figured, you know what? Who better to bring on again for this episode than the guy sitting next to me? You know him, you love him, the great Sedric Warren. Sed, what's good, bro?
What's good, everybody? Appreciate you, Danny, for having me back. I will say that my predictions from last year didn't go as well, so hopefully this year will be a little bit better. But that's playoff baseball for you, so we're excited to be back.
Yes, indeed, and the playoffs have been exciting. I tell you what, just from a personal standpoint, I said anybody but the Astros, and God bless the Detroit Tigers, because they got them up and out of here quick, fast, and in a hurry.
Sure enough.
So without further ado, what we're going to do is we're going to give our playoff predictions, starting with starting with the divisional round. So what I'm going to do is, since I'm a Rangers fan, he's a Braves fan, I'm going to take the American League teams, and he's going to do the predictions for the National League teams in their respective brackets. So we're going to start. Actually, I'll start with the American League, going with the Tigers and the Guardians. And they did game one yesterday and didn't look good for Detroit. They were down early, like 5-0. I mean, they pulled their pitcher after the first inning.
Yeah.
And then as soon as they bring in Olsen to take the starter's place, first pitch, he gives up a 3-run tater.
Yeah.
And they ended up losing, I believe, 7-0.
Yeah.
So
I think Detroit has gone as far as they can go, right? But it was a big push from them late summer to get to this point. So kudos to them. I think these are the type of things you got to build on as a franchise. Like, you got to take this momentum from this year, get the right players, look at what got you there, good hitting, good pitching, obviously, and then take that and move it into this year. But I think Cleveland is a little bit too far ahead at this point.
Yeah. I tell you, in Cleveland, their bullpen is dangerous. They got arguably the best bullpen in the American League. Then on top of that, you got Stephen Kwan, you got Jose Ramirez getting the job done on the offensive side of the ball. It's going to be a tough hill for the Tigers to climb. So ultimately, I have the Guardians going on to the ALCS.
Okay. I feel like Cleveland's been a little, like, they haven't been super, like, everybody's known they've been good, but it's been a quiet good, right?
Yeah.
It's been a quiet good, the consistently winning, while the other people in the AL were trying to, like, really make noise. And I think the biggest news came on the American East side with the Orioles and Yankees going back and forth. So Cleveland just kind of kept their pace, kept winning. So here they are.
Yep. And if you would have told me that there would be 3 teams from the AL Central representing the 4 teams in the American League, I would have called you a liar. But they made a fool out of me, and here we are with 3 teams from the AL Central.
Yeah.
Going far in the postseason, which now get to the bottom of the American League divisional series bracket. You have the Royals and the Yankees, and the Yankees, I mean, they're the juggernaut of the American League. I mean, you got Soto, you got Aaron Judge, who's putting up video game numbers, and then you also got Luis Hill, who's really been shoving at a quality rate for the Yankees. And they ended up winning against the Royals in game 1 last night. And this is a series that I've really been looking forward to, because I really didn't expect the Royals to be as good as they are, as fast as they are. It seems like they were going after their World Series title in 2015. They hit a bit of a lull, but I tell you what, Bobby Witt, that guy's the future. Yeah. I mean, if Judge wasn't in the American League, we're looking at Witt possibly being the AL MVP.
Absolutely. Another quiet team, just kind of doing their thing, winning games here and there. Obviously, again, Yankees being the big franchise, making a lot of noise and just being who they are. But the Royals have been quietly dangerous. And again, another great thing, young talent, young people to build on. I think we have to look forward to the Royals being another powerhouse in the AL Central. Look for 2025 for them to come back, probably compete with Cleveland with a lot of their work too as well. So yeah, young talent, young stars on that team that are definitely going to make a difference.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And I was so sad to see Cole Reagans go. We gave him up as a prospect in exchange for Aroldis Chapman when we made a postseason run last year. And granted that paid dividends, but Aroldis Chapman, he throws gas, but he's very hit or miss.
Mm-hmm.
And he was only there for basically half a season, and he went on to the Pirates. So now we don't have Cole Reagans anymore, and now Cole Reagans he's a frontline starter, and he made an All-Star appearance this year. So sucks to see him go, but ultimately I'm taking the Yankees over the Royals just based off of the experience, and it's the Yankees.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. They got the bats to do it, and I think with them getting the first win last night, I think that was big. Even though they were up, they were down. It was a back and forth game. They have the bats to do it. If you get your key people on base, you put Judge in a position to get a hit. You put Soto. You put Stanton. Those people in a position to get hits, they're going to come through.
Yeah, 100%. So now we're going to move on to the NL side of the bracket. So in the divisional round, in the upper portion of the bracket, we have the Mets and the Phillies. Some good old NL East doing NL East crime.
Absolutely. And as a Braves fan, but overall as a baseball fan, I'm really excited for this. And again, the Braves, I think, just riddled with injuries towards down the stretch. We just didn't have enough, pitching injuries, hitting our talent. And Ronald Acuna was out. I mean, that definitely makes a difference.
Yeah.
Kudos to them for still battling to be in a position in those last two games against the Mets to get into the wild card round. But the Padres are not a young team, but an exciting team. And I think they got it this year, right? So I'll go back to them in a second, but let's get to Mets and Phillies. This is, like you say, classic NL East rivalry. It's going to go back and forth. So last night's game started out with Kyle Schwarber hitting a tank.
Yeah.
I mean, an absolute tank.
He set the tone
early to the upper deck. And I said, okay, they have to get more runs. So as I'm flipping through, it's a heavy sports day, as I'm flipping through multiple games between football and baseball, I see that Zach Wheeler is having a good day, but the runs aren't coming to support him. It was only 1-0. And I said, that is not enough. Yep. It has proven to be true, because the game one of that last two games against Atlanta magically got back up, but it was only up 1 run. And what happened? Francisco Lindor, boom.
Yep.
Puts him up, right? So if you're going to beat the Mets, you got to bury him, and you got to bury him early, right? Zach Wheeler went 7 complete innings. We don't see a lot of starters doing that much anymore. It's a lot of kind of load management, or whatever you want to call it. But pitchers don't go 7 to 8 anymore like they used to, especially the guys we're used to growing up with.
Yeah.
Those guys would like, I'm pushing it 8-9 innings as best I can. So to see that happen, I said the Phillies had to get more runs, and unfortunately they weren't able to. And the Mets put up a 5 spot in the 8th inning. Right then and there, I was like, this is the Mets team that is so dangerous, because, again, if they get people on base and they get to that middle part of the lineup, early part of the lineup with Lindor, Pete Alonso, those guys will make you pay. And that's exactly what happened.
Yes, indeed.
So they're playing small ball. They're playing good ball. They're just putting the ball out there, right? They're not trying to do too much in those situations. They're getting hits when they need it, and that is clutch in the postseason. These are two teams that, let's see, Mets were 89 and 73, Phillies 95 and 67. So not even 100-win teams, right? But the Mets have found a way to win, so I'm going to roll with the Mets to win this series. I think it's going to go back and forth. I think Phillies will win this next game. We'll find a way to win, but the Mets are dangerous because they can hit in situations.
Salient points, all salient points. And the Mets have been red hot, especially in August and September.
Yeah.
And I think they're going to carry that momentum with them into the playoffs. And you've made some great points, and I completely agree with you with the Mets getting the upper hand of this in the series over the Phillies.
Absolutely.
And then in the bottom half of the NLDS bracket, we have the Padres and the Dodgers. Now, this one I've really been looking forward to, because San Diego's been hot too.
Yeah.
And I got to be honest, I was on another podcast, and the guy was asking me which team do I think is going to be the biggest surprise in the playoffs. And I said the Padres.
Yeah.
There's just something about them. They just scare me.
Yeah. And you were right. You were absolutely right. They have finally found a way to put it together, because for how many years have the Padres regular season battled with the Dodgers? they're playing 3-4 game series. They split. Padres take 3 out of 4, or vice versa, right? And then finally, they would get closer to the postseason and fall off, right? And look at the talent that's been on that team. That's still on the team. Machado is definitely the anchor of that team, right? Savvy veteran, defensively still nasty, right? Can still hit. You got Tatis on there. You had Juan Soto, right? And I was thinking, okay, they're adding all these people. They had like Blake Snell on the mound. So they had the pieces, but they couldn't put it together.
Yeah.
Snell's gone. He went to the Giants. Giants fell off, right? Soto went to the Yankees, as we see, but Tatis and Machado and many others on that team have now found a way to get wins, and they are dangerous, right? I saw that against Atlanta. Again, Atlanta was broken up, but they still played very well against the Braves, who could, find parts of magic. But I think you're right. Padres are definitely dangerous in this moment. Now, the other side of that is their friends down the street or up the road in LA are also very dangerous. As we saw, if you watched the game last night, the Padres took a early 3-run lead with a veteran home run with Manny Machado, right? Big deal. They didn't flinch. Dodgers didn't flinch. Got men on base, and they got to the heart of their lineup, the strongest person who I'm trying to find the words to describe him, and I don't think they exist right now.
Yeah, we're out of superlatives.
Right? Because the moment was not too big for a first-time playoff player. You would have thought Shohei Ohtani was taking batting practice the way he was so calm up there. And I could tell the pitcher was nervous because his first 2 pitches were way out the zone.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, he's scared. He doesn't want to give up anything. Personally, I'm putting Shohei on, and I will take my chances with Mookie Betts. And that's no slight to Mookie Betts because Mookie can make you pay too. But I'd rather him get a double or maybe, a single or something like that.
Yeah.
Or possibly roll into a double play, right? But Ohtani is on a stretch that, like, you don't want to pitch to him right now. And he left one up in the zone, and it got drilled to right field for a home run to tie the game up. So with that, I mean, this is going to be another back and forth series, but I think I give a slight edge to the Dodgers because of that power, because of that presence in Ohtani. They're going to make things happen.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Man, good pick. And I tell you, when Ohtani smacked that one, I mean, I got goosebumps. Like my hair was thick.
Yeah, I did one of these right here.
Yes.
I was like, yeah, absolutely.
And it's like he took it up a notch because normally he's very stoic whenever he smacks those bombs. But that one, he knew. He flung that bat and he was like, let's go.
Yeah, it's you can tell it's postseason baseball. Everybody's feeling it. Everybody's amped. The crowds are packed. It's not an empty seat in the house. You know what I mean? And he felt it too. And he's only going to get better. And one thing I want to say about him is that this is just him hitting, right? The historic season, 50-plus home runs, 50-plus stolen bases. But, like, I still believe he probably has, like, a no-hitter or 2 in him.
Yeah.
Right? If he eventually gets back on the bump, like, he's probably going to throw a no-hitter or 2 in his career. And that's amazing, right? Like, imagine by the end of his career, he's hit 500 home runs and, 3 no-hitters, lifetime ERA of, like, sub-3. Like, who can do that, right?
A unicorn.
Who can do that, right?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the Chavez Ravine, that's still on my bucket list of sports events to attend. So now going back to the American League side of the bracket, now we have the ALCS, which is the Guardians versus the Yankees. And oh man, I'm looking forward to this one. Man, I still gotta give it to the Yankees, and I think the Guardians are going to give them a run for their money. I mean, Jose Ramirez, again, the aforementioned Ramirez and Stephen Kwan, you can't count them out. Emmanuel Clase, who honestly, he's my favorite pitcher in all of baseball right now. Like, it's supreme closer on the mound.
Yeah,
he gets the job done, but I don't know if the rotation is going to be enough to carry Cleveland over the top. Right. Their bullpen is their strongest point, and their whole pitching personnel.
Yeah. So,
and I think that's going to be the deciding factor in the Yankees winning the ALCS and going on to the World Series. And so now we go back to the National League side for the NLCS. You have the Mets and you have Los Doyers.
Yeah. again, the postseason is about being hot, right? Go back to 2021 when my Braves were 10-ish games out of first in late July, early August. Turned it on, made some some in-season moves, added Jorge Soler and Jock Peterson, and got that boost they needed to win the World Series, right? Momentum is key. And the Mets have momentum right now, and that's important. But one thing about momentum is that it stops when you meet something just as I think the law is then a force equal or opposite force acts upon it, and I think that force is the Dodgers. And I think Dave Robinson is coaching his team very well. He knows what he has, and again, there's just pieces in this lineup that are just tough to get past. Right?
That's true.
So I don't think it'll be complete domination by the Dodgers in the NLCS. I could easily see it going 5 or 6 games for sure. The Mets will definitely take one in LA if it comes to that point.
Yeah.
They'll find a way. And again, if their rotation only allows a couple runs, their bullpen, like they did against the Phillies yesterday, can keep them in it.
Yeah.
And that's what they have to do is just stay in it. So that's going to be the key for the Mets is to stay in it, limit the damage. And if you get down big early, watch out.
Yeah.
Because they'll find a way to chip away and make it interesting. So
that's true.
For the Dodgers, pack on the runs. Pitching has to come through, of course. And for the Mets, got to keep it close. You don't want people like Ohtani and Betts and everyone else just teeing off and just making it happen that way. But give me the Dodgers in this one. Like I said, I'll give it 6 games for that series for the NLCS.
I like that. Some good prognostication there.
Yeah.
So now we have our World Series set. Man, and the outcome could not have been any better. Bi-coastal battle. We got the Yankees versus the Dodgers. And man, this one is tough for me to pick. It really is. If they could go 11 games, if it could be an 11-game series, I'd welcome that with open arms.
Absolutely.
But oh man, you made a lot of great points regarding the Dodgers, and the Yankees. Again, they're a juggernaut. Man, honestly, this is a coin flip for me.
Yeah.
I might have to go with the Yankees in this.
Okay.
In this taking the World Series. So, Sid, what say you?
I was trying to look at the Dodgers rotation, and I think that's going to be the key in this series because both these teams can hit.
Yeah.
Right. So what's going to be key is that whose rotation can limit damage, can go deep. I think that's important. Can you go 6, 7? And it's weird to say that like deep is 6 innings because back in the day, that's like an average start, right?
Right.
You think about all the other guys we grew up watching, like they're going 7 or 8, and then like you're bringing in a closer. So I think which rotation can go the deepest is going to be super important, right? 7 innings, 7 2/3, maybe even touch an 8th, right? That way the opportunity for closers and relievers is limited, right?
True.
Less time, because if your pitcher is locked in, so say, just give the Dodgers, for example, if Yamamoto's on the mound, he's locked in for 7 or 8. Yankees are struggling, not really getting the hits that they need, or even if they do get a few runs off him, but he's able to limit that damage to maybe 2 or 3 runs, keep it within a 1 swing type deal.
Yeah.
I think that's important, right? And I'm with you. It's a coin flip here. It really is because either team can just turn it on and be great. But I think the Dodgers have the magic this year. I think they got it figured out. I think they're going to make it happen. I want to see 7 games, so I'm going to say it's going to go 7. We have 2 classic franchises. I think this is fantastic for baseball.
100%.
To get more fans, more people interested. And to that point, kind of a bit of off topic, but I'd love to see some of the advertisement that they've done as well with Major League Baseball starting to get a little more recognition in the kind of commercials and things like that too as well. So yeah, I would love to see Jazz get there.
Oh yeah, I didn't even think about.
Love to see Jazz get to the Yankees. He's been a different player, and so to that point, I think he could be a key to lifting the Yankees up a little bit more because he's been balling.
He's got something worth playing for now.
Yeah. I mean, he gave his all in Miami because that was the team that drafted him.
Mm-hmm.
But it's something about when he got to New York, he turned it on, and he was out for a little bit with I think a hand injury or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But he has turned it on. He has seen the ball well. Defensively, he's always been nice.
Yeah,
but he's a utility guy too, right? So imagine that's another thing. If one of your players is either injured or can't go, and you need to make some changes, he can play your outfield, right? Still be in your lineup, or he can be back at third base too as well.
That's true.
Which he's still learning that position, but he's still doing well. He definitely caught that hot corner magic yesterday. One definitely just got ripped down the line. Probably would have taken out the family jewels if you will, if he didn't get his glove in front. So I think a couple things for this series will come down to pitching, going deep into these games, and then who can kind of find a diamond in the rough, like a Jazz or somebody like that, to really come up and make big plays when they need to.
And I tell you, man, that's why I brought you here, man, for that analysis.
Absolutely.
That you're only going to get on that plate.
Absolutely.
So you got Yankees and Dodgers. So what do y'all think is going to be the outcome of that series? Leave your pick in the comments. And you got anything you want to plug or promote?
Man, I'm always excited to be on here. I'm looking forward to it. I will give you guys the exclusive. Said Talk will be coming back in 2025.
Yes.
So definitely we'll have this guy on. Definitely want to have a regular segment with some baseball talk on there. But right now I'm working on a social enterprise called 5-6 Media Group with myself and two of my fraternity brothers. Our mission is to cultivate creativity, and we are expanding the accessibility and the visibility of art and education design here in South Carolina. So follow us on social media. It's the word 5, the number 6, MG on Instagram. You can find us on Facebook, and you can also visit our website with the links in the bio. So appreciate you, man.
Absolutely. And I'll leave all of that in the show notes.
Absolutely.
So thank y'all for listening. Make sure y'all like, download, and subscribe to At the Plate with Danny Foxworth. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel. You can find me at Danny Foxworth 843. There you can find all the videos for episodes of this podcast, as well as my other podcasts since we last spoke with Danny Foxworth, as well as Growing Up Low Country with Liz and Danny, and my new podcast about candles entitled A Wicked Good Time. New episode will come this week as well. And for Seth and myself, this has been another episode of At the Plate. And until next time, y'all be good. 3 strikes.